So Godzilla's been in the news a lot recently, mostly because of the future of his future films. Over in Japan, we got the new Godzilla Resurgence trailer. Also, there's the news of the possibility that New World Cinemas will bring Godzilla Resurgence here to the States, and I have a petition that I hope will encourage them further. It's right here, you can check that out, possibly sign it for me, please. We got over 500 signatures in just 2 days. That's kind of achievement. Now we've kind of slowed down because we're only at like 637 last time I checked, but hey, just keep it going and it'll go even faster. And then over here in the States, we got the news of Gareth Edwards departing from Godzilla 2 in the Legendary Universe. But what I'm specifically excited for, and this was just announced yesterday, was that the return of Godzilla is coming to DVD here in the States. So why is this such big news? Well, let me take you back a little. To make a long story short, this is actually the last of the Godzilla movies that need to have a DVD release here. Of course, in order to explain that, I'd have to take you all the way back to the long story. So while Toho, the company that makes the Godzilla films, distributes them in Japan, they don't do that over here in the States. Not a single company controls all the distribution of Godzilla here over in the United States. Several companies have done that over the years. But it wasn't until Sony got the rights to the majority of them after the failure, disaster, mess that is the Godzilla 1998 American remake, starring Matthew Broderick.
That's a lot of fish.
That most of them even saw a video release here in the United States, and a majority of them came to DVD. It was them who brought the 1990s series over here, and also continued with the Millennium series, and it was also because of them that, for the first time, we were able to see the uncut 1954 Godzilla in Japanese. Now, still, several Godzilla movies were not able to be released over here. Sony still wasn't able to acquire the rights to other Godzilla films, and the rise of independent third-party, unheard-of companies started taking place. And still, we were able to get things we weren't able to get. For example, we were able to get Godzilla movies on Blu-ray, and also these 90s series were in Japanese with English subtitles. We had to stick with those craptacular dubs, and I swear, the 90s movies had the absolute worst dubs ever. And check this out. We got Godzilla Raids Again and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster on DVD. In their Japanese forms, which we never got. And then, of course, came Godzilla vs. Megalon. Now, this isn't the first time it's been on DVD, but it is the first time it's been on DVD officially. All we had to stick with before were bootlegs that were pretty much crappy quality recorded off the TV. But this one that we got was actually officially licensed by Toho, is in good quality, and has Japanese on it. In 2012, a milestone was reached when Godzilla vs. Biollante came to DVD. This is one of the only two Godzilla movies made during the 1980s. Some people actually consider this to be more 90s, only because it was made in 1989. It's a milestone because while all the other Godzilla movies in the Heisei series, the 90s series, while they all got a DVD release, this one never did. All we had was that video released by HBO on VHS. And that was so rare that it was so hard to find. And then this comes out and has the Japanese on it. And come to think of it, I've only watched this once, but I think the English dub is in terrible quality. Like worse than on the VHS. But still, it got a DVD release. We can finally stop praying. And after that, only one Godzilla movie remained to have a DVD release. Now, don't get me wrong. We still have yet to have a complete modern collection available in stores. Because, for some Godzilla movies, while they did get a DVD release, some of them, the last versions they were copied, are now out of print, very rare, and even more expensive. Hard to believe I used to beg my parents for those ones, and now I can't even get them myself. And they never got re-released. Movies like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and The Son of Godzilla. But still, they count as having a DVD release. But still, to this day, only one Godzilla movie has never seen a DVD release over here. And some people might even count it as never having an official release over here. Wanna know why? Because like the Godzilla 1954 versions, there are two versions of it. And that second version was the American version, Godzilla 1985. Of course, I have the VHS of it, and I also have the bootleg version, Because like I said, several companies are pretty much bootleggers and literally ripped off this one. This version was heavily edited from the original Japanese version, which of course is The Return of Godzilla, and released in Japan as simply Godzilla. That movie came out in 1984, this one came out in 1985, hence the title Godzilla 1985. I used to think this movie was called Godzilla 1985, The Legend is Reborn, simply because of the little tagline that I thought was a subtitle. This one never came to DVD either. This American version was produced and released by New World Pictures. No relation, of course, to New World Cinemas, which is releasing Godzilla's Surgeons in here, supposedly. But in 1997, they suffered the same fate as all the other distributors of Godzilla movies prior to Sony, and they disbanded. So because of that, the rights were thrown around, and Toho was so reluctant because they had no idea how to acquire them, and so they swept it under the rug for years. 30 years, as a matter of fact. Now that New World was gone, the question was, who owns the rights to this movie and our movie? It's really weird how that works. I mean, the company is no longer in existence, yet their legalities still hold with whoever had them originally. That was only the case up until yesterday, because I don't know what happened. The rights must have expired or something. But either way, Kraken Home Video, which distributed, I don't know, was it them? No, this is Lionsgate. Anyway, they distributed a couple other Godzilla movies that Sony apparently lost. Bottom line, they're the ones who are releasing The Return of Godzilla. Now, many people assumed that, like with Godzilla 1954, it would come with the American version, but apparently it won't. So, if you want to watch the American version, you're going to have to stick with the VHS. But honestly, I don't care. I've seen this version a million times. I'm content with having it simply on VHS. I want to see it in Japanese. Because if people count that as a separate Godzilla movie from this, and why shouldn't we? I mean, there's a separate Wikipedia page for both these versions. Why not? And they're extremely different from one another. There are even different dubs. I don't care. I just want to see this uncut in its original format. Especially since I've grown to hate the dubs. When I was a little kid, I didn't want to watch anything but the dubs because I didn't want to hear it in Japanese or have to read it in subtitle. But now, thanks to being an anime fan, that's all I want to do now. And I am glad that now I can finally do that. I can finally watch Godzilla 1984 in Japanese on my TV. Because I looked everywhere to see if I can find it illegally on the internet, and even that's rare to find. I mean, I would have liked to have, Godzilla 1985 in a high-quality theatrical format, but I don't care. I'm content with simply The Return of Godzilla. I just find it weird how they're calling it Godzilla 1984. Weird. I guess that's just how they distinguish it, because the original Japanese release was Godzilla, so, why not? Who can blame them? The only problem is we're not going to see this release until, September. But I don't care. I've waited 5 years for this release. Fans have waited even longer. I can wait 5 more months. Well, that's all I have to say. Only Godzilla forever. Look at that badass face. Look at him. Isn't he awesome? Rawr.